Jamie, take us through some of the top pocketbook issues affecting Canadians in the first federal budget since 2019. There is a luxury tax.
Absolutely. So this is sort of a brand new idea. We're going to have a new luxury tax on cars, boats, and airplanes. Basically, if you buy a car or an airplane, which has a value of over $100,000, or a boat with over $250,000 in value, there's going to be a new luxury tax. A luxury tax is calculated as the lesser of 20% of the value above $100,000 for the cars and airplanes, or $250,000 for the boats, or 10% of the value of the car, boat, or plane. So it's a lesser of those two amounts. That starts on January 1st, 2022. You might want to buy your boat, car, or plane before then.
There's a tax around the corner for vacant homes.
So obviously, residential housing has been a huge issue in much of Canada, certainly in the big cities like Toronto and Vancouver. So as has been predicted, the government will be planning to introduce a vacant home tax, basically for non-Canadian owned residential real estate that will be vacant. This will be effective on Jan 1st, 2022, and the tax will be equal to 1% on the value of that particular property. And the idea is to encourage foreigners who own Canadian real estate to rent out those properties. And if it is rented out, then they can avoid that tax. More details will be coming on that in the months ahead.
Take us through the tax repayment schedules, I guess, and extensions when it comes to some of the COVID benefits.
So a variety of Canadians are certainly receiving a variety of COVID benefits. The primary one right now, of course, is the Canada Recovery Benefit. And last month, over 3 million Canadians have received these particular benefits. So the number of weeks has been increasing. Right now, we have 38 weeks. What they're planning to do is bump up that to a total of 50 weeks. So we have 12 additional weeks. That's typically $500 per week. The final 8 weeks, however, will be reduced to $300 per week. In addition to that, there is a special rule that they're now putting into place for COVID repayments. So in some cases, people had to repay the CERB, the emergency response benefit, if they turned out they didn't qualify. Under the rules that currently exist, you can only repay it in the year that you actually, you only claim a deduction in the year that you actually repay it. And this is a problem for some people, because if they received it in 2020, but they didn't repay it in 2021, that deduction may not be very helpful for them in 2021. So what the government is proposing to do in the budget is allow you to claim a deduction for the year in which the benefits relate by amending your tax return for a prior year. So I think this is going to be very helpful for many Canadians that were forced to repay their COVID-related benefits.
Some good news for students and post-secondary loans.
Yeah, so a few things for students. Number one, student loan interest. So typically there is already a moratorium for 6 months after you leave studies to have to pay interest on a student loan. Last year, the government also increased an additional 1-year suspension on student loan interest. Today's budget further extended the interest accrual relief for student loans until March 31st, 2023. In addition to this, there's also special rules for students who have to repay loans. They're no longer students, they're receiving income. There's income thresholds. And the income thresholds typically would be if your income was under $25,000 a year for a single borrower, they're going to bump that limit up to $40,000. And then finally, for anyone who's doing a postdoctoral fellowship, that is considered to be income. It is taxable. However, until today, that was not considered to be earned income, and you could make an RSP contribution based on it. That is changing. In fact, it's changing retroactively to 2011. So any postdoctoral students who did receive income they paid tax on can now actually amend their returns and effectively get this qualified as earned income and be able to make an RSP contribution.
Tell us about the changes to persons with disabilities.
So a recent report came out earlier this month from the Disability Advisory Committee recommending changes to make qualifying for disability tax credit just a little bit easier. And the government did take them up on that. And actually they're expanding the rules in the area of mental impairment to expand the list to include a wider variety of mental functions that would qualify someone if they have an impairment in those functions to qualify for the disability tax credit. Of course, we know the disability tax credit is a gateway for various other benefits, including the ability to open up a registered disability savings plan.
What's in the budget for seniors?
Well, surprise, surprise, there is a one-time payment for seniors, old age security. It's going to be a one-time $500 payment payable this August 2021, to any OIS pensioner who will be at least 75 years of age or older as of June 2022. In addition to that, starting next summer in July 2022, they're going to increase OIS payments by 10% for all pensioners over the age of 75.